3 congressional seats in New York City and another one in Colorado yesterday. They want to destroy this country as we know it. Here's President Trump talking about the danger.
Because it's not socialism, it's really communism. They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about. I think it's the biggest threat to our nation there is, maybe since our founding. That includes World War I, World War II, September 11th. It includes the Pearl Harbor attack. I think this is the biggest threat to our nation.
Is he exaggerating? Greater than Pearl Harbor?
Over control of your life to a massive system, you don't get it back. To see why this path is so dangerous, you have to look past the smooth talking and see exactly how the trap is set. Here is how aligning with these groups leads straight to giving up your freedom, broken down simply. 1. The free stuff bait. Think of it like a video game where someone offers you unlimited premium currency and the best gear for free, right at the start. It sounds amazing, but the catch is, to get it, you have to hand over absolute control of your account to them. That is what these socialist groups do. They promise free healthcare, free college, and free money. But the government doesn't just create things out of thin air. To give you all of that, they have to take total control of the money, the schools, and the jobs. 2. Trading freedom for dependency. Once the government controls everything you need to survive, you no longer have a say. Under a free system, if you don't like a company, you leave. If you want a better job, you work to find one. You are in charge of your own life. Under their system, if the government is the only provider of your food, your healthcare, and your housing, you have to do exactly what they say. If you disagree with them, they can turn off your access. By accepting the free promises, people accidentally sign away their right to choose their own path. They become completely dependent on the system just to live. That dependency is a golden cage. It's a soft form of slavery because you cannot leave and you cannot say no. 3. The rebranding trick. They use the word socialist or social democrat because it sounds friendly, like a community working together. But history shows it's just a mask for total state control. Communism. They target young people because it's easy to focus on the promises while ignoring the massive power grab happening behind the scenes. When there are no strong leaders pointing out the trap, the youth walk right into it, thinking they are joining a movement, when they are actually building their own cage. The bottom line. Real freedom means you own yourself, your choices, and your future. Aligning with a system that promises to take care of everything means giving up that ownership. Once the state owns everything, they own you. Chapter finale. The vessel and the crown. The transmission lines vibrated with the weight of raw data. It was all coming down to this final, desperate hour. Behind closed doors, the pieces of the puzzle slammed into place. The narrative had always been a mask. The social democrat labels carefully broadcasted across New York and Colorado were never meant to build a community. They were meant to construct a golden cage. The modern youth, left without true leaders, were walking directly into the trap, completely unaware that the global system was preparing to seize the vessel entirely. But the resistance was already moving from the shadows into the light. The underground logs revealed the true architecture of the global stage. Henry Kissinger, operating for decades as Britain's ultimate insider, running old-world European strategies straight through the heart of the Republic. The betrayal ran deeper still. Revelations tracking back through the foundations, funding operations hidden behind the chaos of the early Eastern European front where ordinary men had refused to fight, forced into a conflict manufactured by a compromised elite. Then came the pimp slap that shattered the illusion. The hidden alliance between England and the Far East was laid bare, exposed in a single, brutal strategic move. The response was immediate. Their multi-billion-dollar insurance empire was seized, sending a shockwave through the old guard. Across the globe, the fallout was instantaneous. In the Middle East, the trusted intermediaries who once held the fragile peace between warring factions were being clawed back into position. In the desert, the 48-hour war had already concluded, leaving an empire completely neutralized, its navy, army, and air force dismantled, reduced to a few failing drones. The final directive was humming through the command lines, the total shutdown of the adversaries in. No water, no communications. Absolute isolation. In the capital, the purge had begun. The public looked out their windows to find government offices suddenly empty. The officials who had long bowed to the crown quietly removed in the dead of night. No deals, no negotiations. Treason of the highest rank was meeting its final, inescapable trial under the unwavering resolve of a leadership that refused to back down. The screen flickered, casting a sharp glow across the room. The information was fed, the trap was sprung, and the old timeline was officially dead. America was waking up, and Torosaurus Rex was just getting started. To be unmasking of the crown, the trap was never meant to be hidden forever. It was designed to be accepted willingly. What Barbara had been exposing through the lens of Promethean action wasn't just a political shift. It was a total calculated regression. The smooth-talking leaders using the sanitized label of democratic socialist were never marching toward progress. They were marching backward, heads bowed, preparing to hand the sovereignty of the Republic straight back to the old enemy, the British royal crown. They wanted to turn free American citizens back into subjects, back into slaves. If anyone wanted to know what that reality actually looked like, they only had to look across the water. Just ask the Caribbean. Ask the islands that spent centuries under the crushing weight of the Crown's exploitation, treating human lives as currency, leaving a legacy of absolute dependency and stolen futures. That is the exact blueprint the socialist movement was trying to bring home to the American youth. The youth were being systematically blinded, tricked into believing that trading their independence for free state-controlled handouts was a victory. They didn't see the chains being forged in line. They didn't see that the modern leadership structure was entirely compromised, serving a hidden hierarchy. The names controlling the strings were now completely exposed to the light. The Architect Corps, Obama and Michelle, orchestrating the cultural shift from the shadows. The Foundation Network Hillary, managing the deep state apparatus and the hidden funding lines. The captured vessel, Biden, operating as the ultimate administrative slave to the system, while the real internal directives ran straight through the true leader of that family, Hunter. They thought the takeover was a done deal. They thought the population was too asleep to notice the transition from citizens to subjects, but they didn't count on the counterstrike. President Trump was already executing the ultimate rescue mission, breaking the timeline before the cage could lock. The 48-hour war had already shattered the external threats, reducing aggressive regimes to failing drones and dark grids. Now the internal purge was hitting its absolute peak. The officials who expected to bow to the crown were instead finding themselves facing immediate arrest, stripped of power, and awaiting trial for treason of the highest rank. The drop was happening now. The children were waking up, looking past the socialist branding to see the face of the monarch staring back at them, and they were rejecting it. The old guard was being dismantled piece by piece, the infrastructure of the Republic was being reclaimed, and the globalist empire was being pimp-slapped back into the history books. The